All right, here we go. All right, guys, let's start off today's presentation. Once again, my name is Ed Zamora from Principia Prep. Today I'll be going over the senior college prep program, basically getting you guys ready for high school senior year ending and then basically freshman year of college starting. Now, I'm going to be going over a lot of stuff here, guys. I'm going to give you an overview here. Also, as we begin the presentation, if you guys have any questions and want to ask me questions after the presentation, if you want to jump off early or later on, up in the top right-hand corner of every slide is my email. You guys can email me any questions you guys have as you go through this whole process. Now, right at the top, we're going to be talking about a lot of stuff here that basically deems from today all the way until you drop your student off at college. Basically, let's call it end of August, early September of their freshman year. I'm going to be going over the financial aid award letters. I'll also be going over how to appeal, ask for more financial assistance, how the federal direct loans work that you've maybe been offered already. I'll also be talking about getting more scholarship money after your students start school, as well as how to figure out future college costs for years 2, 3, and 4, as well as what to do if you've been rejected or waitlisted or any of those things in between, deferred, accepted, as well as when you're talking about the legal forms you want to get done before your student steps foot on campus. Now, all that being said, let's jump right into one thing that many of you guys already know. We do have the YouTube channel. So if you guys do go on YouTube and watch us, just type my name into YouTube, Ed Zamora. Most of the information you guys are looking for is already on the YouTube channel. I have videos about everything I'll be talking about here today, as well as additional topics, pretty much everything you can think of as far as college related. If you go on the YouTube channel and watch our videos, it also does help our scholarship fund, which we utilize every year to give back to students going off to college, basically through our scholarship program here at Principia. Now, all that being said, let's jump into one of the first aspects that every senior parent should be doing right now. Now, right at the top, if you haven't done the FAFSA yet as a high school student or as a parent, you need to get the FAFSA done immediately, especially if you're talking here in the state of New Jersey for any public school students who are looking to graduate high school. One of the requirements now for graduation this year for New Jersey is your student must fill out the FAFSA form to be able to graduate. So as parents or students on the call today, if you haven't already done the FAFSA form, you got to get the FAFSA form in. Second, it's the starting point for all financial assistance of any kind. So in some cases, some colleges are even asking for the FAFSA to be turned in, even for scholarship consideration, even though the FAFSA really has nothing to do with that. And of course, the FAFSA is there to also help out with grant money, basically additional discounts from the federal government, as well as the school your student is looking to go to as well. So if you haven't already started the FAFSA, one of the things I would suggest doing is going to the website down below right there, studentaid.gov, and starting and completing the FAFSA form for your students for the fall and spring semester coming up when your students start college, wherever they start college for 25-26. In addition to that, let's say you guys have done the FAFSA form. Let's talk about what's going to be happening now. So from basically now going forward until you drop your student off at college, there's going to be a lot of stuff happening. Right at the bat, the moment your student gets accepted to college, they're going to receive an acceptance letter. And within that acceptance letter, a lot of times you guys will see they give you scholarship money. And this is where some parents get confused, and students as well, where you guys get accepted to the college and you get the acceptance letter saying, okay, you've been offered, let's say, a $10,000 scholarship. And you're thinking, is this it? Is this all we're getting from the college? In many cases, that's not it. One of the things you first have to understand is there's basically two letters they're going to be sending you indicating different financial aid aspects of things you're able to get. The acceptance letter that says, congratulations, you've been accepted, and we're giving you X amount of dollars in scholarship money is not the award letter. So if you fill out the FAFSA form or any additional financial aid forms in addition to the FAFSA, that's not the letter. It's going to tell you how much you're getting. After you're accepted and they send the acceptance letter showing you how much you're getting in scholarship money from the admissions office, anywhere from 2 to 3 weeks after you're accepted, as long as the FAFSA form's been done, you guys will receive another award letter. It's called the Financial Aid Award Letter. The Financial Aid Award Letter is what shows you guys the scholarships, the grants, the loans, and the work programs. So if you just got accepted, let's say this week, and you're wondering when are we going to get the money from the FAFSA form, very simple. Give it 2 or 3 weeks, and then you're going to get the full package, the entirety of the Financial Aid Award Letter. In addition to that, starting basically between now and May 1st, which is called National Deposit Day, this is the time frame you have to make a deposit at a college and let them know, yes, I'm going to your college. So between now and May 1st, your student has to decide where they want to go to college. Once they decide, you guys then must make one, if not in some cases, 2 different deposits. First, the admissions deposit, basically giving them typically $300 to $500, saying, yes, hold my spot. That money you put for the admissions deposit is there and will be used towards your fall bill. So it's not just to leave it there to lock your spot in and the money's gone. It's to lock your spot in and also to basically put a little bit of money towards the fall bill. Second, you're also going to be asked for, if you want to live on campus, a housing deposit. That's also another $300 to $500 typically. So let's just call it $1,000 in total between depositing to admissions to say I'm coming there and the housing department to say, give me a room, basically. That's what you need to be doing now between now and May 1st. Then when May 1st comes around and they got you guys in the system saying we got a deposit, whether you're living on campus or not, the next thing you're going to get is typically around the middle of June, you guys will be getting a couple of forms. The first form you'll be getting is basically a welcome packet with the bill, as well as any health documentation that needs to be taken care of. That bill will be the fall bill. This is what confuses families sometimes because you're thinking, okay, the school's tuition for the whole year is, let's say, $20,000, but they're only asking me to pay $10,000. The reason they're doing that is because the bills are typically broken into 2 semesters, a fall and spring semester. So if I'm paying $20,000 for the year, I'm paying $10,000 for the fall and $10,000 for the spring, $20,000 combined. So in that mid-June timeframe, after you deposited, in that welcome packet will be the first thing in there will be the bill. Now, in the bill will also be health insurance waiver. If you already have health insurance for your student, let's say mom is working or dad's working at a company and you have health insurance for your student, then you can waive the school's health insurance. By law, every college must provide students with health insurance. So if you don't have health insurance, the college will provide it for you. But there is a cost to it. The cost will range anywhere from typically $2,000 to $4,000 for the academic year. Now, if you already have health insurance, I would call your health provider and ask them, if my student's going to X, Y, and Z college and they're staying on campus, do we need your insurance, or does it not work, or does it work for them maybe being out of state or maybe being out of the country, depending on where your student's going to college? Those are the questions you want to ask your health insurance. If they say, yes, you're covered, then you typically don't need the health insurance in the college. I'd waive that health insurance. Now, if you forget to waive it, this is the problem. If you all of a sudden remember your student's been in school for about a week and you figure out, oh, yeah, I have to waive the health insurance, it's too late. The minute your student steps foot on campus on the first day of school, the first hour, the first minute, to be honest with you, that they're a student and you did not waive the health insurance, you're covered for the whole year. You can't get any portion of your insurance premium back to the college paid for you and you were charged for at that school. So if you do have health insurance, get it waived if you don't need it before you drop your student off at the college. In addition to the bill and the health insurance waiver, there will also be inside that packet medical forms your students need to take care of. Physicals and other vaccines and stuff this college would want from you. These things must all be taken care of before your student steps foot on campus on the beginning of that academic term, which is typically the end of August or early September. Now, in addition to that, let's say that you do have a bill, but you're not sure how to handle a bill because it's too much for you to just pay right off the bat the whole fall semester. Very simple. You guys have until typically August 1st to satisfy that bill. So if you're looking to take out a loan, let's say, to cover the remaining balance for the fall and spring semester, very simple. You can apply for a loan basically anytime between that June 15th timeframe, let's say when the bill comes, that welcome pack with everything, and the beginning of the semester, which typically is the end of August, but usually you want to get it done before August 1st. So let's say June 15th to August 1st, you want to get a loan in place to make sure that everything is taken care of. If you do those things, your student will be a lot better off before they set foot on campus. You really don't want to wait till like a week or two before they go off to school to do the loan stuff. You want to get it done typically at the latest, the beginning or middle of July, to give you that 2 or 3 week buffer. So when you do everything, get accepted for the loan, the college has that information way ahead of time before your student steps foot on campus. Now, in addition to all that, let's talk about other checklists and things you should be doing right now, specifically from the financial aid perspective. Now, right off the bat, I talked about the FAFSA. Everyone should get the FAFSA form in. Even if you haven't done it to this point in time and you're thinking, I don't need to do it, they're not going to give us anything, just do the FAFSA form. It's also a good thing to have it done just in case you never know there might be something available at the college you weren't aware of, financially speaking, to help lessen the burden of the college cost. In addition to the FAFSA, we also have state forms, specifically here in the Northeast. We have a Pennsylvania state form if you're a resident from PA, a New Jersey state form is NJ FAMS, as well as New York has its own state form. What you want to do now, if your FAFSA has already been in, let's say for 2 or 3 weeks, so anything over 2 or 3 week time frame, I'd be going right to njfams.org. On njfams.org, they will show you if you're staying in the state of New Jersey and you log in by creating an account for your student on njfams.org, if your student's even eligible for anything. They'll show you if you're eligible for any TAG grants, tuition assistance grants here if you stay in the state of New Jersey, if you're eligible for EOF or EOP, Education Opportunity Programs, which help basically reduce a ton of college cost, and a few other things as well. Also, if you're looking to borrow from the state of New Jersey, the state of New Jersey also has the NJ Class program for NJ Class loans, which are low interest rate loans you can borrow from no matter where your student goes to college. As long as your parent or the student is a New Jersey resident, you can borrow from that, or if you're coming from out of state and going to college in New Jersey. NJ Class is one of the best loans out there. I'll also be talking about other loans, but it is a great loan to consider. However, NJ Class will not allow you to borrow unless the student has the FAFSA in. So there are some loans that require you to fill out the FAFSA regardless if you're not going to get anything anyways from financial aid, just as a consideration to get basically considered for federal and state loans in many cases. In addition to checking with NJ FAMS of what we're getting if we stay in state and having an account ready to go in case we want to do a New Jersey class loan, in addition to these forms, another thing I'd be doing is contacting every college your student's considering. So let's say your student applied to 10 schools and they got accepted to 7, and they're really thinking about 2 of them. I'd contact those 2 and make sure, contacting their financial aid office and ask them, do you have all the documents we need? Is there anything else you need from us? Is the FAFSA okay? Do you have the state information? Do you need our taxes? Because in some cases, colleges also require additional forms like the CSS Profile form, or in some cases, institutional forms to be turned in addition to the state forms and the FAFSA form for federal consideration. So you want to call financial aid right around now and make sure, as long as your FAFSA and everything else has been in for about 2 or 3 weeks, is there anything you guys need from us? Are you missing anything? Any signatures, etc., just to make sure nothing is falling through the cracks. Now, in addition to asking them, do they need anything from you guys on the financial aid paperwork side, they'll also tell you if you need any documentation on the tax side, which typically means you've been verified or selected for verification, basically is the best way to put it, where the federal government just basically just randomly chooses you. Now, if you've been selected for state verification or federal verification or institutional verification, so whether the government chose you or the state you reside in chose you or the college chose you for verification, and you're thinking, did we do something wrong? You didn't do anything wrong. In most cases, 1 out of every 3 families is just randomly selected, kind of like a lottery, where they ask you to turn in documentation, typically taxes, your 1040, your W-2, your 1099s, this kind of stuff, just to make sure everything is making sense on your form. So you got verified, it's just commonplace. It's not like anything else. Not like you did anything wrong, we put it out. Now, once you've done that, let's say you do that next week, you get all the stuff for financial aid checked out, we've been verified, we got all taxes and financial aid forms in. What's next? Very simple. Typically within 2 or 3 weeks of acceptance. So you get accepted, you got all financial aid paperwork in already, been verified, everything's checked. 2 or 3 weeks after that whole process is out of the way, you guys start receiving these, the financial aid award letters. The financial aid award letters are basically your key to know where you kind of are as far as the college is concerned. Where's your footing, let's call it. The financial aid award letter will first, right off the bat, as you can see here, I have one from about 20 years ago. I never change this. I use the same award every year because these things don't change, to be honest with you. In 2 decades, they don't change. They look a little bit better. They have more coloring to them, etc. But the financial aid award letters, also known as the shop sheets, are basically all the same. First thing I'm going to show you is what's that college's cost of attendance, which is what does our college cost, everything included, room, board, books, transportation, tuition, the whole thing, how much do we cost? So I'm going to tell you this is what we expect our cost to be for next academic year. Most of them will say estimated on there because they really don't come up with the actual cost until roughly around mid-May, but essentially it's going to be pretty close. It's going to be not going to be off by that much. So first thing we see is how much the college is going to cost us going forward for the whole academic year. Next we're going to see is what is our ability to pay, now known as the Student Aid Index, used to be known as the expected family contribution, but it's basically the number from the college, essentially typically from the FAFSA or CSS, saying this is how much the family can afford to pay towards the cost of college based on the FAFSA, CSS, and other metrics of financial aid forms you guys filled out. So you take the college, what they cost, subtract out what you have left over, as the colleges show you here, and that's going to basically say to you, this is how much space you have available for financial aid consideration. Now, below this, it's going to show you guys what they're offering you. Scholarships, grants, loans, and work programs. This is essentially you figuring out here, do these numbers equate to what we had talked about or looked on or researched before? Because let's say you did the school's net price calculator, and the school's net price calculator said, okay, we cost 40, you guys can afford to pay 10, we're going to give you 20, 25,000 in help. But the school came back and said, okay, we cost 40, you can pay 10 according to the financial aid forms, but we're only going to give you $10,000 of financial assistance. Well, at this point in time, I'd be looking to appeal, to basically ask for more financial aid consideration. And talking about appealing, which most senior parents are looking to do now, let's discuss how you actually do a financial aid appeal. Now, right off the bat, you have to understand when you go to a college and ask them for more money, basically renegotiate, it's called, you need to know what you're doing. And it breaks into two very easy categories. If you have a good scholarship amount, but you want more scholarships, you appeal with the admissions office. If you are looking to get more grant money, you appeal with the financial aid office, and it goes in that direction. The two don't mix. It goes in one direction or another. Now, there are certain cases where if you call the admissions office and let them know we want to do an appeal for more scholarship money or more financial aid office, or the financial aid office, you say, I want to do an appeal of grant money, sometimes you'll say they have a committee. What that committee does is it brings them back together. So you have one committee that reviews both. So if you're looking to appeal both, you wouldn't go one or the other. You'd basically appeal it through the committee. If you want to find out how a college does their appeals, just call their admissions or financial aid office. They'll let you know. Now, when you're appealing scholarship money, numbers don't really matter from this perspective. If you lost your job or you're making $1 million a year, scholarships don't care about that stuff. What scholarship money is more kind of a debate with your best friend, where we're having coffee, we're debating a scenario where, your college costs 20, you gave us 5,000 in scholarship money, but this other college gave us 10. You're my number one choice. I really want to go there, but 5 versus 10, can you match the 10? They'll look at that in admissions. That's an admissions appeal situation where they would consider it. Financial aid would never consider that. Financial aid is just a giant calculator. So if based on your financial situation, you don't have financial space for grant money, they're not going to help you. They don't care if you're the top student in high school. They don't care what your SATs are. They don't care if they're your number one choice. All irrelevant. It's like talking to a laptop. It has no feelings. It has no concerns. It has no empathy. It does not care. So you need to have space there. Let me explain what I mean by space. If I fill out all the financial aid forms and the college costs $40,000 all in, and the financial aid forms say I can pay $40,000, so the college costs $40,000 a year, and I can pay $40,000 a year, the admissions office can still give me a scholarship because financial need is not equivalent or is not considered in getting scholarship money. Where the grant money, financial need consideration from the financial aid office means we cost 40, you can pay 40, we're not going to give you any help unless there's something that happened, a job loss, medical expense, or something of that kind that affects your financial situation, then we'll consider you for more help. Where admissions can consider basically you got somebody else give you more money, we'll consider you giving you more. Now, when it comes to the appeal, if you need help in appealing, I do have a video on YouTube, how to appeal for more financial aid and who appeals. Because when you're appealing scholarship money, it should be the student appealing. When you're appealing grant money from financial aid, it should be the parent appealing. And if you want more insight, watch the YouTube video. I go very in depth of what works, what doesn't work, the right verbiage and everything else, and how to kind of move forward to hopefully increase your chances of getting more money. Now, with that out of the way, let's talk the federal loans. Because on the award letters, every student applying to college, whether it's county college, four-year college, two-year, public, private, in-state or out-of-state, they're all going to offer you federal loans. Now, as a freshman or as a student going into freshman year, your student will be offered $5,500 in federal loans. Now, if you want to take those loans, you got to do two documents. You have to do an entrance interview, and you also have to do a master promissory note. The entrance interview and master promissory notes are both done here on studentloans.gov. You can also go to studentaid.gov because it's basically all the same site, to be honest with you. Once you go on studentloans.gov or studentaid.gov, you can click on the top, as you can see on the top here, I have this extra screen here where it says manage loans, or you can click on apply for financial aid, to be honest with you, either one of those two. And once you log on, you can basically click on do the master promissory note or entrance interview paperwork. Now, when you do log on to studentloans.gov or studentaid.gov to do the entrance or the master promissory note, you must log on as the student. So you're using the student's FAFSA login to do their master promissory note and entrance interview paperwork. Now, when it comes to both these documents, I would only do these documents after I know where I'm going. So if your student's still figuring out which school they want to go to, don't do these two documents yet. Because if they change their mind, you got to go back in there and do it again. And it takes about half an hour to do both. But it's better to know in, let's say, May or even in June or even July, you can do these forms, to be honest with you. It's not a tremendous rush to get them in. You want to get them in before, let's say, August 1st. But you want to know what school you want to send them to, because if you do it twice, you're basically taking an hour for something that should only take 25 to 30 minutes to do. Because if you do it once, 30 minutes, do it again, another 30 minutes. So it's best to figure out where you want to go first, then do the paperwork. And delving even further into the loan stuff, let's break down how they work as far as the federal direct loans. Right off the bat, most of you will be given $3,500 in subsidized loans and $2,000 in unsubsidized loans. And the question always pops up, well, what's the difference between the 3,500 sub and the 2,000 unsub? And the answer is very simple. The subsidized loan, the government's paying the interest on that loan while your student's in school until 6 months after they graduate. Then the interest starts. Right now, the interest is 8.25%. That interest rate is going to drop down a lot this year. So this is the rate for this year's this year's freshman class that went in this year academically 24-25. For the 25-26 students starting next academic year for the seniors right now in high school, your interest rate's probably going to be closer to like the low fives, so a lot lower. Now, the difference between the sub and the unsub is the 2,000 unsubsidized is not being paid for by anyone. That interest is growing on itself on a daily compounded interest. So if you guys want to, you can say, give me the interest-free loan, 3,500, but no, don't give me the 2,000. Or you can say, yes, give me both. It's really up to you. In either way, you guys have to make sure to get the entrance counseling and the master promissory note paperwork in for those loans to be cleared and be able to be sent to the college to help pay for your student's bill. Now, in addition to those two loans, you also have the Parent Plus loan, which right now, based on the origination fee and everything else, it's roughly around a 10% interest rate, so it's not cheap. I would probably not consider the Parent Plus loan this year. I'd probably consider going either private lenders or NJ Class loan because the rate is so high. In fact, most of the private lenders, whether you're looking at Sallie Mae or College Ave or SoFi or any of the big guys, the big name brand schools, the big name loan companies, these guys are all starting around 3.5%. So a third of what the Parent Plus loan is for this academic year. Now, if you need loan help or you're looking to get a loan, you want to get the loan basically in place, I would say by mid-July. Most loans, by the way, take less than a day to get processed. So you don't have to worry about, we're doing it end of July, it's supposed to be done. The middle of August, will it get there in time? As long as you have at least 2 or 3 days before the deadline is due for the bill to be in or the loan to be in, you guys are perfectly fine. I wouldn't wait that long. I'd give at least 2 weeks before the bill is due at the latest to get the loan in, but they are done pretty quickly. Now, if you do need loan help, very simple. You can either just email me or text me or call me. I'll give you my information at the end. I do put out every year the top 5 best student loans to consider based on interest rates, terms, and conditions. So if you want help with the loans and you want to know who is the best, you can just email me. Or also, if you follow our YouTube channel, you know that every year I put the loan video out talking about which loans are the best to go for the academic year. Now, all that being said, let's talk about the admissions side of this, or I guess when your student starts at the college and they're there for, let's say, a semester or a year, what else should we be doing to help minimize the cost? Now, if you already know where your student is probably considering going, let's say their top 2 or 3 colleges, first thing I'd be doing right now is I'd be calling the admissions office and asking them, besides appealing for scholarship money, I'd be asking them, are there any scholarships available for continuing students? And I'd be saying it exactly like that. So what I'm saying to them is, my student gets in there, first semester, they knock it out of the park. They get a 3.5, 3.6 GPA, typically known as getting to the dean's list. Most colleges will have additional money available if your student meets or gets to the dean's list, 3.5 GPA or higher. The admissions office will be able to tell you this if this is available at their college, which means we can know in the back of our mind, if our student goes there, our game plan as parents and as students is you got to get to a 3.5 GPA or whatever level it is that they say, yes, we have continuing student scholarships available here. Whatever that number is, you got to get to it because that allows us to know additional cost saving measures are in place if you do what needs to be done at the college, academically speaking. You can even ask the financial aid office this question as well, because in some cases they know better off than the admissions office does if there are scholarships available for making the dean's list, not just for the college, but in some cases as minute, or I guess is more focused, as for the student's major specifically. So I'd be asking both admissions and financial aid, as I'm negotiating with both of them in many cases for more grants and scholarships, what else is available after we start at this college, to be honest with you. In addition to that, I would also at this point in time, as seniors, be focusing a lot of my attention after I finish negotiating the admissions and financial aid people for scholarships and grants. I'd be also looking to go on to goingmerry.com. As you can see down there, the 3 additional resources. Goingmerry.com, I believe, is the #1 scholarship search available now. I'd be on there with my student, creating an account and being able to hopefully apply to as many scholarships as possible, especially considering the fact that most students aren't considering that right now, and there'll probably be a lesser competition available for you guys to go against. That, as well as scholarships on all 3 of these sites, are available all the way through PhD programs. So you can keep the account running, maybe check it once a month, once every 2 months. What else is available? What can I apply to? So on and so forth, to look for future cost saving measures to keep the cost of the colleges down. In addition to all that, let's keep talking about cost savings in the future. Since we're all using, as senior parents, for our students going into freshman year 25-26, they use the 23 taxes, we now have 2024 tax information pretty much complete, pretty much ready to go. So one of the things I would be doing right now is any college I'm thinking about, I'd be going here to that website down there, collegecost.ed.gov, net price calculator. This website here, any school's name you pop up, they're going to pull up their school's link for their net price calculator. I'd be going on the net price calculator and checking the financial aid award letter I already got. If I haven't done the net price calculator using my 23 tax information, am I getting enough? If not, that's going to be a reason I'm appealing and asking for more. I'm also going on here and using my 2024 tax information and seeing what will sophomore year look like based on new tax information. Will the college be more generous, less generous, or as generous as they already have? This right here will let me know for freshman and sophomore year of college where we fall financially speaking, to let me feel comfortable or maybe not comfortable with the student moving forward with depositing and going there, knowing that maybe there won't be enough money in years 1 and 2, or maybe there will be a ton of money in year 1 and 2, and I do feel comfortable. This is the key for you guys for the first 2 years to make sure financially you guys feel okay with the student choosing the college. Now, in addition to that, let's talk about the unfortunate situation where, let's say the student has been rejected or waitlisted or deferred. Now, if you've been rejected, I would just let it go. In the past, there has been circumstances where a student could appeal, say, look, I did better in the first half of senior year, I got better test scores. The problem you have right now is there's so many applications that's nearly impossible at a college if you've been rejected. It's just not going to happen. You just got to kind of let it go. You can always consider transferring later on, but going in as a freshman student is very unlikely to happen. Now, if you've been deferred, basically you did early action or early decision or restricted early action. You did the early stuff. You applied October, November, and they said, look, we like your application, but we're deferring your application to the regular pool. You still got a shot. And the reason I still say you still got a shot is because of the fact that they will typically in admissions look at the early decision 1, 2, and early action candidates before they'll look at the regular candidates. So Let's say you have an early student who applied early and everything's identical to a regular student and there's one spot left. They're very likely going to take the early student because of the fact that you guys applied early on, especially if you're considered an early decision 1, early decision 2, or restricted early action student, you're more likely to get in. Now, if you've been waitlisted, I don't think you're going to get in. I'm saying that from the point of view of every college across the board is seeing record number of applications. Northeastern, a very popular school for our students here in the Northeast, broke 100,000 applications, has never happened. Rutgers is, I believe, projected to get somewhere around 130, 135,000 applications. Pre-2020, Rutgers never had more than like 60,000 applications. So they more than doubled their applications this year. Virtually impossible if you got waitlisted. Also, if you got waitlisted, one of the biggest problems you're going to have is you might not be notified until sometime in August whether they even have a spot available for you. So you would likely have to deposit somewhere else as, let's say, your secondary choice, and then hope and then see what happens with that waitlist situation. But the waitlist, because there's so much competition, is very difficult. Rejected waitlist, probably not going to have an opening for you guys. If you were deferred, there is an opportunity you might get in. Now, all that being said, let's talk legal forms. So before you drop the student off, there's 2 legal forms you got to get done. Right off the bat, you have the HIPAA form, HIPAA, which is the Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act. And you also have the FERPA form, which is the Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act. Both these forms can be done at the college, by the way. I'll start with the FERPA. The FERPA is very simple. The FERPA form is basically used for the college to say to the student, anyone that you put on the FERPA form, anyone's name. So if I put mom or dad's name on the FERPA form, mom or dad can call the college and ask them any question they want. What the bill is, what the financial aid is, do we have any issues with classes, what's my GPA, what's my credits, how many credits do I have, how many credits have I signed up for next year, housing questions. Anything can be asked if you have the FERPA form in place. It's basically so the parent has access to everything. Now, if you don't have the FERPA in place, most colleges, as a courtesy, will allow you to, as a parent, to call and ask for the bill, mostly because they know you're paying the bill. But legally, they're not supposed to tell you anything financially about the student, but it's just more of a courtesy. So for parents, you want to get the FERPA form in first. Only at the college, by the way, once again, where they're going. So once we know where they're going, contact the enrollment office. In some cases, it's either the enrollment, the records, or the bursar's office. And by the way, in most colleges, all 3 are the same office. But if you ask admissions, where can I get the FERPA form done? They'll contact you which department to go to. And then in some cases, to be honest with you, they even do it online through the student's portal, where they can go into the portal as a student, add the parent, and the parent has access to everything. In addition to the FERPA, you also want to get the HIPAA done, which typically in most cases is usually either in the nursing station or nurse's office there. And this basically allows you to have the student sign off on you. I also look to see what the local hospital situation looks like and also get the FERPA or the HIPAA done through them as well to make sure that if anything happens and the student is not capable on, for whatever reason, health-wise speaking, to basically speak for themselves, that you basically have the power of attorney, let's call it, to be able to and consider any medical actions that you need for the benefit of the student. You got to get these 2 things in because once your student steps on foot campus, they're legally an adult and you have no rights to do anything for them or with them or about them unless these forms are in. Believe it or not, even if you're paying the bill for 3 straight years and these aren't in, they won't answer any questions. They're not supposed to. So it's best to have these things out of the way before they start to college. And by the way, I have videos for all these things. The FERPA and HIPAA, I also have a video as well. I also send this videos out to the parents as we get closer to certain deadlines. So you guys, if you've already signed up for either a newsletter or if I talked to you guys in the past, then you guys already know I send you most of these videos to remind you guys things need to happen. I think I send this video at least 3 or 4 times to parents as senior year before they go into college because these are very important forms that need to get done. Which I mentioned before, if you haven't already signed up for, I do have the newsletter that goes out every month telling you guys what you need to be doing every single month. If you want the newsletter, very simple. Once again, top right-hand corner of every slide is my email. Just email me, hey Ed, name of your high school, what year your student is in, because I do newsletters based on grade level, and I'll send you the newsletter, and I also send the videos of things you should be doing throughout the year. Now, At this point in time, you guys are basically in the decision phase of this. Most of the students have been accepted, certain colleges, and you're trying to figure out what's the best place to go, what's the best place to do, the major, and everything else. The reality is, as parents, you need to make sure your student goes to the best education that's the most affordable. All this craziness that people have done over the last 20 or 30 years, and I've been doing this for almost 30 years, by the way, where everyone tries to get into the most difficult college regardless of the price, and send the student to the most difficult college doesn't make any sense. It hasn't made any sense in 20 years. Your goal is to find the best affordable college for your student to go to. In some cases, that means having that hard talk with your student where you say, okay, why do you want to study business? Why do you want to choose the most expensive college with the most expensive airfare across the country to go to? Why? Explain this to me. Because good, bad, or indifferent, most students, even the ones on the call, you guys don't understand what it means to pay 60, 70, $80,000 a year. And I don't say that in a bad way because you guys don't have decades of experience working and understanding what it means to actually save up 50, 60, or $70,000. Because just because mom and dad make 90, 100, $110,000 a year doesn't mean that there's 50 or $60,000 that just is laying around. Not the way this works. And I say that in that perspective because the reality is college is college. In 28 years of doing this, I can guarantee you, no matter where you go to college, there's a more affordable option. And the colleges all provide the same opportunity. Because in the world of college, there's just two types of colleges. There's the Ivy League and there's everyone else. The whole nonsense about the new Ivy is marketing nonsense. There is no such thing as the new Ivy. Like there's no such thing as the new Ferrari. There's no such thing as the new Coca-Cola. It's either Coca-Cola or it's not. It's either a Ferrari or it's not. The whole nonsense of the new Ivy is marketing nonsense. The reality is, your goal is to get into a good college, get a job, and get out with the least amount of debt possible. If you do that, you win. If you go to the most expensive school because it's ranked a little bit higher, and then you sell your soul to the student loan companies, and for your entire 20s, because all student loans are 10-year repayment programs, and you've wasted your 20s because you wanted to get a better sweater, you lost the game. I'm telling you that from experience. And I speak at 80 high schools. So I'm not just saying this randomly. I see tens of thousands of families every year, and a lot of them make the mistake of thinking if it's ranked higher, if it costs more, it's a better education. It's not. It's just burning money for no reason. And once again, I'm being recorded saying this. And this is going to go on YouTube for thousands of people to see. And I'll keep saying it. Choose the affordable college that makes the most sense for you. Do not lose your mind and spend a bunch of money and waste it for something that's not necessary to do. Okay. Now, all that being said, if you guys do need help, if you do need assistance, that's my cell phone number. I know my wife thinks I'm out of my mind because I have literally random strangers all day long, every day, texting me questions about everything, about scholarships, about appeals, about which loans are the best, about college savings plans, about colleges, about SAT. Should we go optional? Should we send scores in? If you have questions, just text me because it's the fastest, easiest way to get a hold of me. If your question is a little bit longer, let's say, better than texting, you're more of an email person, that's my email. If you call, I like never answer the phone. I know I've probably said this and you probably heard this if you've seen a couple of my presentations. I'm always either with a family helping them out or with a guidance counselor or helping consulting a college or doing the YouTube stuff for the scholarship. So it's very difficult to get a hold of me on the phone. But if you text me, I answer back within a day. If you email within the 2 or 3 days, but I'm still pretty quick.